Replacing the door glass on your Mercedes GLS series vehicle could cost you $1,000 at least at a dealer, 600 to 700 independent, but I'm going to do this here for less than 150 bucks, and we're going to do it together right now. Now in my case, I'm not swapping out a pane of glass, I'm actually just replacing a window that has been shattered. So there's a few extra steps I'm going to take, like making sure I vacuum out every little bit of glass inside and out. Run your vacuum a number of times. I can't stress this part enough, because if you've got broken glass, you've got the risk of getting yourself cut up. So take a vacuum, take your time, and get everything out. Once you've made sure all the glass has been cleaned out, you can start taking this door panel apart. And it's pretty simple. The first part I'm going to do is take this little piece here where the tweeter is, and that just slides up. You can put a panel tool in and slide it up, and then pop it out and disconnect the harness. Next, I'm going to pull this slide out, and it's not critical to take this out in order to take the panel off, but I just want one less harness to deal with once I do. So you just get in there with a small panel tool, pop out the reflective part, the red part, then you can pop out the body of it and then unplug that harness. Next, there's an access panel just underneath the handle part of this armrest. You pull that off and you'll see a single Torx head screw. You'll pull that out. Next, you'll work your way around this entire door with the panel tool. There's about 12 of these panel snaps or clips that hold it into place. Before you pull this panel off, you will have to move some trim that overlaps the panel and will hold it into place. But you don't have to take the entire thing off. You can just pry these pieces up and out of the way, just enough to give you clearance to pull this out. When you do that, you'll expose a push pin type retaining clip on the top right of the door, and that's going to have to be removed as well. Now when you're doing this, try to find some non-marring tools. Hard plastic or nylon tools. Panel tool will have to be metal though, because you need some force with it, and it's good to have two different sizes of these panel tools to be able to get in there and pull appropriately. Now work your way around this entire door, popping all these little snaps until the only thing holding the door is the top trim and this corner piece. Here's that part I was talking about, and the way this works is there's a pin, you push it inward and it allows you to pop this out, and once you have it out you can reset it for the reinstallation. Once all the snaps have been undone, once that little push pin has been taken out and you have the trim pulled away, you should be able to pull this door upward and out. The only thing that's holding it right now is the very top. There's a lip, part of the weather stripping, and the top of the door snaps into it. Once you have the panel pulled away from the door, don't let the panel hang, because you've got some harnesses here for your lighting, for your switches, and your speaker. But they can all be taken out just from this door module right here. There's about 3 harnesses. You want to just unplug those, and you can pull this entire door panel away. What you'll have left is the cable that actuates the door lock release, and it's easy to take out. You take a little pick and you just want to push straight up on it, and it'll pop right out of the housing. And once you do that, you can snake this cable out from the other housing that holds it in place. With the door card pulled away, do a quick inspection and see if you have any of these snaps that stayed on the door side. If you do, use the panel tool, pop them out, and then reinstall them onto your door card so that they're ready to go when you go to reinstall. With the inside of this door exposed, you will see 2 plugs. They're access panels. Just pop them out, and that's where you're going to find your door regulator tracks, and that's where you're going to undo the Torx bolts that hold the window in place. This is a good time now, with the door card off, to go back over again with your vacuum. You want to get into all the little nooks and crannies. You have a little bit more wiggle room now with the trim, with the door being off, so get in there. It's really important to fish out if you have broken glass like me, to fish out all the broken glass from the tracks of the window on the sides and up top. Because when you put your new glass in, it has to be able to slide in through those channels unobstructed. So for me, I take a small tool to spread open the weather stripping to get a vacuum down in there really nice. And then for the sides, I'm going to use that same non-marring tool to just get in there and chip away at the glass. I'll vacuum whatever I can. The rest will fall into the door, which I can vacuum out later. With everything cleaned out really well, I'm going to come back down to these access panels. I'm going to use the switch on the opposite side, the driver door, to slowly roll that window or bring that window down, just so that the screws, the Torx screws that hold the window in place, are visible in this little access panel window here inside that track. You see the silver head there? Those are the Torx screws. That's what holds the window in place. Inside of there's a clamp that is surrounded by rubber. It squeezes the glass pane in place, and that's all that holds the window in. Once again, in my case, I'm going to have to fish out some broken glass. So here there's a Torx, I believe maybe it's a 30 or a 27. You're going to undo this. You don't want to undo it too much, because then you'll just actually open up that clamp way too much. Undo this to where you're just taking the pressure off of that. Then we're going to come back up top to try to fish out the rest of the glass. You can see in here, inside of that little clamp, that little rubber clamp, you see the glass that's left there. So I'm going to take another longer tool that I can get down in there and just scrape away that entire piece of all those pieces of broken glass to make sure those clamps are ready to go. Now in my case here, I did back out one of these Torx head screws a little bit too much where it unthreaded, and now I have two halves of a clamp. If that happens to you, it's an easy fix. Find yourself some type of tool that you can use like this here to get in there, grab the back, put pressure on the back of that clamp towards you, and then spin that Torx head screw a little bit until you feel the threads catch, and you know that these clamps are ready to go. Now up until this point, all the work I'm doing is in preparation because my glass is not here yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to temporarily close this window. I'm going to put this here because it's a pretty good product. It's just got double-sided tape, and it's a certain type of plastic that will shrink when you hit it with either a heat gun or a blow dryer. So and it's nice and clear. So if you need to have something to cover up your window for a few days while you're waiting for a replacement, this is great, and I'll put a link to it down below. You just put the tape on, put the plastic on, hit it with the heat gun, and you're good to go.
One eternity later.
I'll put a link to these guys below. The window came in about 4 days. It was packaged well, and it cost me a total of 125 bucks. To get the glass installed, we're going to have to remove this weather stripping, and I should have done that before. It would have made it easier to vacuum, so pull that off if you have to vacuum anything out. With that weather stripping open, it gives you a big enough channel to get this glass in here. Before going any further, turn your ignition on and use the switch in the driver door to bring that window regulator all the way down. You need as much room as you can get in that door pocket to get that glass to fit in there. And the way this glass is going to go in, it's going to go in tipped forward and downward. So you have the glass, you tip it downward towards the front of the car. Carefully get that glass all the way into the door cavity. Once you're inside the door cavity, you can start to pivot the glass, and as you pivot it, you want to get it into those tracks. You want it to land in those felt and rubber tracks that the window guides on. Once the window's in, you may need tape to hold it up. In my case, I didn't. But the most important part right here is make sure you have that window fully up and towards the rear of the car so that it's flat in that channel towards the back of the door. That's going to give you proper alignment as you bring the window back down and let it land into the clamps of the window regulator. With the window fully in and lined up where it's supposed to be, go ahead and raise that window regulator back up to where you see the clamps inside these little access holes. With the regulator in place, go ahead and slide that window back down, keeping pressure towards the rear of the door, rear of the car, so that the window stays aligned in that channel. And you'll see that the window falls right into those two different cradles, those two little clamps. This part is critical. Do a visual inspection in these access holes. Make sure that the glass is fully seated in those rubber clamps. And make sure that you didn't inadvertently slide the glass down to where the clamps are only on one side of the pane. If you have the clamps lined up properly, that's when you want to go ahead and tighten these Torx head bolts. Use caution on this part. You don't want to over tighten and risk breaking your glass. These actually have a torque setting. It's about 6 Newton meters for this vehicle. With those two screws tightened, use the switch in the driver door to test this window out. You should be able to bring this window down and up. You want to watch for any kind of binding. As long as that window stays in that track properly, it's lined up, it's level, this will work. If it binds, if it gets stuck or anything, you need to readjust, level the window out appropriately. Again, using as much pressure as you can on the back of the door closest to the rear of the car. That'll line you up properly in that channel. You want to bring it up and down a few times to test operation. If you find, like I did, that at the top it comes back down a tiny bit, it needs a new upper limit set. That'll happen every once in a while. All you have to do is bring your window all the way up, hold the button upward a little bit, and it'll set a new stop limit. With the window working properly, now it's time to reassemble. First, we're going to snap this weather stripping back in place, and then we'll follow it up with the plastic trim that goes around the door. The weather stripping goes in pretty simple. It just slides straight down and clips into the sheet metal at the top of the door. Next, I want to get this plastic trim started. I'm not going to put it in all the way because I still have to get the door card on, but basically I just want to start to snap it around the weather stripping that's on this door. And that's all that holds it in. It kind of snaps around the weather stripping and it gets held into place. Reinstall the 2 rubber plugs for the access holes. Door card goes in the opposite way that you took it off. The most important part here to begin with is that top side. And the way it fits in, it doesn't curl over the top like some of the other doors do. It just slides in towards the door itself. It's a little channel up there. It slides into that weather stripping and it locks into place. Once the top is in, you can go around and push in all the snaps of the door. You can get this plastic trim finished up. Towards the front of the door, there's 2 little tabs that snap into right behind where your tweeter will be. And then on the back side of the door, you've got to snake this piece in. Before you do that, though, there's this little push pin here. Once you've taken it out, you can reset that center pin to get it ready. But you're just going to push it into the square hole and then push that pin in. It'll expand it and it'll hold the top part of the door in. Once you do that, come back to the trim and you got to snake it in between the post, which would be like a B-pillar post, and the door card itself. Snake it in, and then it has to kind of wrap around and snap over the weather stripping. Right about now is when I'm going to test some buttons here. Make sure the door lock works, the seats work, and of course the window still works. Getting the sweetener on, we're going to need the window back down. So have the window down, carefully get this harness back into the plug. And the way this is going to work is it kind of has a hook at the bottom. And you want that piece to go in first, hook around the back of the top of that door card. And then the front of this trim here, again, it goes around, it snaps around the weather stripping. But once you get it and you feel it, it'll pop right into place easily. Next, reinstall that Torx 30 screw, tighten it down, and then reattach that access panel. Next, I'm going to reattach this courtesy light. Now, I didn't have to take this off. I thought I was going to have to contend with another harness in the door as I was holding the door out, but it turns out we don't have to take it off at all. So if you did take it off, it just your harness goes back into the light bulb socket, the white housing snaps into the door, and then the reflective piece snaps over onto that white plastic housing. One more time, testing functionality of all the buttons and the operation of the window. This looks pretty good. We're almost done. I have to give a shout out to the people at eManual Online. I have subscriptions to All Data and TrueFix, and those are great tools. They're very expensive, and there's something that you want to do if you're a professional. For a DIY person, this is the way to go. I found it the best for me. It's a one-time purchase you get to keep forever. For this Mercedes, for example, it was a one-time purchase, and it gives me access to the Mercedes Workshop Information System. There's Zentry WIS, I believe it's called. But it pretty much has everything you will ever need to know to fix anything on this vehicle. And I'll keep it forever. There's no monthly fee. Best thing is, I have a discount code. If you want to head over and purchase your own manual, use ACE789 for 20% off. I like making these videos to show how easy it is to do some of these things on your own, and of course to save a ton of money while doing it. I'll put links to the tools and items I've used below, and if you use my links, I will earn a whole 17 cents.